Welcome to the Gold Republic Podcast. My name is Bart Brands and I'm the precious metal specialist at Gold Republic. In our weekly podcast, we will invite guests from all over the world to get valuable insights into the emergence of a new monetary system, all through the lens of precious metals, cryptocurrencies, and other financial instruments. Welcome to the Gold Republic Podcast. My name is Bart Brands. I am the precious metals specialist for Gold Republic. And today we are going to talk about three things. It's the end of 2020, a very special year, I think, for everybody. We're going to look back on 2020. We're going to talk about some things that were really special or remarkable about this year. And we will look ahead to 2021. With me is Marleen Evertsz.
Your sidekick today.
Thank you. Marleen Evertsz is the founder of Gold Republic. Marleen, well, thank you for being here in the Gold Republic Podcast.
Yeah, I'm looking forward, Bart.
Yeah. Well, me too.
It's an honor.
There's a lot to talk about. This is the end of 2020. Where recording date is the 30th of December.
It went so super fast.
It went really fast, but it was also a very hectic year.
Remarkable year
For the world. So yeah. I think it's if it's okay with you, then maybe if you want to say a little bit about yourself.
Yes, of course.
Introduce yourself.
Yes, my name is Marleen Evertsz. I'm the founder of Gold Republic. I started Gold Republic 10 years ago in 2010. Our initial plan was to digitize fractional ownership in physical precious metals, so gold, silver, and platinum. And by now, I'm not operationally involved anymore. I have my other company, Alexej, which I lead. But Gold Republic is still my little, not little anymore. It's basically where it all started. Digitizing assets for so many years now, for so many customers. Yeah. So it's amazing that we came this far. Very grateful.
Well, that's good to hear. And 10 years, what I think is remarkable is that 10 years ago, nobody was talking about digitizing stuff, tokenizing stuff. And that's exactly what you did. And that is amazing that 2020 is not only this remarkable year that we are in right now, but also that that is the 10th anniversary of Gold Republic. So 10 years ago, you had this idea and really started tokenizing, precious metals. So
at that point in time, we didn't call it tokenizing.
No.
We called it owning gold.
Yes.
But we made it possible for very small investors to own physical gold. And the whole structure behind it. So it's not only technology, of course, but it's more the legal structure that we had to pay attention to make sure that all the right steps were taken. And we just started, I guess to so vividly remember that I thought like at that point in time, if you would have assets under management, which in our case is not the case because our owners own the gold, it's not our assets. But if you have assets under management as an asset manager, like 50 million seemed like a lot, like unreachable almost. And by now we're so far past that figure already, so many more customers. And it's really very cool. I never expected that so many people would make use of this product. And so it's we've learned a lot. Having said that, I think in terms of like the initial idea, what we wanted to do and the services that we provide, almost nothing changed. No. We're doing exactly that thing that we started doing 10 years ago. With, hopefully the same level of service, only for a bit more customers.
A bit more customers. I think also a lot more customers that started investing in physical precious metals in 2020.
Yes.
Because this has been a remarkable year. Marleen, can you tell a bit about how you experienced this.
Yeah, 2020 was a very, it obviously for everybody was a very interesting year. So much things happened. However, so you could say that COVID triggered the demand for gold, but I think it was just a trigger. It was something that was going on for a longer period of time already. On a macroeconomic level, you saw already so many signs. Currency crises, currency wars, endless monetary quantitative easing. And I was always amazed that nothing happened for many, many years. From 2012 until 2019, the price almost did nothing. It just stabilized. And then, I think Corona was just the first moment, despite all the events that happened before Corona, because there were quite some big ones, that triggered so many people to consider gold again in their portfolio. So it was a crazy year. It's not unexpected, but it was more that it came now. It could have come next year or in a few years from now, but it came this year. Mm-hmm. I'm glad that we were ready for it. For us, it doesn't matter whether we have 10 customers or tens of thousands of customers. COVID on its own was not only a financial crisis, it resulted in a crisis everywhere. Everything got locked down, something we've never really, I think, could imagine that it would happen. It wasn't a local thing. It was like a global situation where boundaries got closed, customs got closed. In our situation where we have to ship the actual physical gold, it was like hardly impossible. So it was challenging, and I'm just amazed by how you guys managed to keep everything running. How we continue to be able to sell gold in the Netherlands. For people that don't know it, but at least in the Netherlands, but also I think in some other countries, gold was hardly available. Physical gold was hardly available anymore. And I think for a period of 5 to 6 weeks, we were the only ones selling physical gold in the Netherlands, which was quite an interesting situation. But especially when you talk about these levels of investments, these amounts of customers, these responsibilities, just super grateful for the team, grateful for the refiners that helped us out, because in fact they made it possible for us to continue to sell gold to the market. If we cannot hedge our gold positions, or if we cannot buy the physical gold somewhere else, we don't have a business, and that happened to many others. It was. I don't know. I think we got challenged from every point of view.
And I can attest to that it was a challenging year, but we had some great help from you as well. And because I think it's amazing that in the last 10 years, you developed a relationship with, for example, our suppliers.
Yeah, that's not only our suppliers. I think we got the most help from, we also, I don't know if people know that, but we also white label the platform of GoldRepublic to third parties, larger international players, who are mostly refiners, larger bodies that produce gold, and that use our platform to offer physical bullion ownership, as we do offer that to the GoldRepublic customers. And they just helped us out. That relationship on its own made it possible for us to continue to sell gold in the way we do.
Yeah.
So, in a way we were lucky. And I think it's also important, like the gold market is very small. Everybody knows each other. And it's also everybody helps each other out, which is nice. Mm-hmm. At this point in time, we needed some help, and we got help. So that was nice. Yeah,
that was really nice. It also provided, I think, a view on a unique situation where we as a player in the Netherlands were the only ones that could provide physical gold to our customers. Mm. And of course, we've seen an increased demand in physical precious metals by our customers, not by a couple percent or tens of percents, but multiples of the turnover that we had last year. We've seen
I think in terms of customers, we had probably five times as much as customers as we normally have. So I think like having a high turnover, that's quite normal because you see that people invest larger sums of money. But having a large turnover combined with an enormous inflow of new customers, that was very nice also to see.
That's an indicator that something is happening.
Yes, and also sometimes concerning. How did you experience this year, Bart?
Well, I think I think parallel to your experience, I think this year was also remarkable. And it also gave GoldRepublic the chance and myself the chance to see how we can expand not only the business, but especially how we can inform our customers about what is going on.
That was new, right? We suddenly couldn't sit in the office anymore. We had to do everything on a distance.
Exactly. And even though I think that as one of our key points is providing service to customers. So talking to them, making ourselves and the team available for individual investors to talk about what their concerns are.
Because you and your team still call almost every customer that opens it. So instead of like, that was, I think, one of our main points from the beginning on. But I'm so happy that you still do that because we call almost every customer, at least the customers we can reach, just to introduce ourselves, to not only be that online platform, but to have that connection and to be able to help out if there are certain questions and you continue to do that.
Yeah. And as well,
you had some help from other colleagues.
We've had some help, but I think it's really important to provide personal service, even though you have thousands of customers. And then another way to provide service is by, for example, having a podcast or starting a YouTube channel.
Yeah, that's what you did this year as well.
That is, I think, for myself, the biggest change if I compare it to 2019, for example. Because in 2019, we already had this simmering, something was happening, and we couldn't really pinpoint what was happening. And then, of course, suddenly Corona happens. And it wasn't Corona itself that started the crisis, but Corona was the catalyst to the crisis.
It was a trigger.
And the crisis itself was something completely different when it comes to monetary policy by, for example, central banks, fractional reserve banking, policies of governments. So that's why I think that we will be in this situation for some time to come. But as for me experiencing 2020, it was a blast in the sense that, I think we're all suffering in one form or another under lockdowns, regulations.
Yeah.
But then again, I think when it comes to my professional occupation and being able to experience this with GoldRepublic was amazing.
But what were your top 3 highlights? Your top 3 events where you said, wow, this was mind-boggling.
Yeah, well, and then, of course, there is, in February of this year, just before COVID hit the Netherlands, and it was still contained in China, I had an interview on a Dutch YouTube channel.
With Paul van Liemt? No.
Yes, that was with one of the best journalists that we have in the Netherlands, Paul van Liemt. And he asked me, is something coming? And I said, something is coming that will make...
I rewatched that interview. Sorry for the non-Dutch speaking
like
people, but it was a good one.
So I was bang on in that prediction.
Or was that luck, Bart?
Sorry?
Was that luck?
Well, I think it was a combination of luck and timing, because I knew something was right on on something was going to happen. And it was going to happen on short notice.
By the way, I say luck, but I was meaning luck in terms of making a lucky guess on what would happen, because obviously this is not a situation we'd like to be in.
Of course, I didn't predict COVID, but I did predict that we were on that something was on our doorstep, and I knew it was coming fast. And I knew it would have big ramifications in the global financial structure, but of course I couldn't predict that would be a pandemic. But that was something that I still think about. I'm like, oh yeah, well, I called it. Of course, there's always a bittersweet aspect to that, because you don't want to call something like that because it means people are in financial trouble. Second, I think being able to work for GoldRepublic and being able to say hello to all these new customers and provide them with the bullion that they want.
What was the most crazy question you got?
Oh, wow.
Or the most challenging
crazy question. That's a real hard one, because people that want to invest in gold, they have all these scenarios in mind. And having conversations with most of our new customers, they tend to entrust you with these scenarios. So their motivation to buy gold, and that fluctuates from, I just want to hedge against downturn in the market, to the world is literally ending and gold will be the only form of being able to barter, and people that are selling everything and buying farms.
Yeah. But those are not typically our customers, right? Because our customers store it in professional vaults all over the world. But we did get a lot of questions, probably, can I get access to my gold if it really goes bad?
So that is one of the standard. Yeah. So that's the new standard. People asking, where are your vault locations, so that in the case that GoldRepublic goes bankrupt or there's no electricity anymore, I can physically travel there and get my gold.
Yeah.
And that is something that we share with customers. So if someone wants to know where the vault location is, then we provide them with the address of the vault location.
Yeah, because they need to be able to pick it up.
Yeah, they need to be able to get to their physical metal if we are not available to provide them with it. So but crazy, the most crazy question. Well, I think what would be considered crazy maybe 2 years ago is now pretty standard in regards to questioning about what if everything is really physically present in the vault location, and how can we prove that? And well, of course, we have a very nice system that provides that proof, but of course, it's that is now on another level.
Yeah,
the people really want to know that their metal is physically present and that they have physical and legal ownership of the metal. Well, the last thing I think is something that, if you look at the explosive growth of, for example, our customer base, then that also comes with being able to provide service in other forms, like on YouTube, and that is where you see a lot more people flocking towards self-education and financial self-education.
Yeah, because our customer base used to be like 55 and above, right? That was our customer base. We once developed GoldRepublic for my age category, but nobody ever started to buy gold in my age category. They were just simply too at ease because we had endless mortgages, endless study scholarships. But the older people, they were aware that they wanted to hedge some sort of, or at least have some allocation towards gold. But now this year, it almost not flipped. We still have a large customer base in the age category of 55 plus. Then we have nothing, and then from 18 till 30 or 25, that's starting to get a very, very large group.
Yes, and you told me something about why, and you just said it just a little bit, but I want you to expand on that, because we are roughly the same age, and except for a couple nutcases like myself, and most people in our age group, I think, never experienced a financial crisis. So maybe you can expand.
Yeah,
on that
well, if I look at myself, I think even at the time I started Gold Republic, I wasn't really very conscious about saving money, putting something aside for the future. I don't know. It was just, I wasn't brought up like that. I also wasn't brought up with any war, any real crisis situations. 2008 was quite an event, of course. But before that, we just lived with endless debt. There was this. I do think that that's the difference. If you look at the younger generation in the Netherlands, at least, they don't get free scholarships. They don't get, if you want to get a mortgage right now in the Netherlands, it's extremely difficult. At the time I graduated, I could lend like 7 times my annual salary without even having a permanent contract. So those kind of things, I think, did switch the mindset of the younger group. Next to that, I think something else happened. The crypto markets came. And the crypto markets, for some reason, caught the interest of the younger generation more than ever. And I think that sort of, they started to realize like, okay, this is something for some reason, they feel much more connected to the crypto markets than any other markets. And, but they also start to educate themselves and think like, okay, this is crypto. Okay, what does it mean? What is it really? What's the intrinsic value of a cryptocurrency? And there we saw quite some movement. We see it also with a lot of influencers online, that they say, okay, I have cryptos, but I also need to invest in some other hard assets.
Tangible assets.
Tangible assets that they understand and that they understand. So, and then gold and silver also, I think they also like silver a lot, pops up.
Yeah.
And that's striking almost.
Yeah, we've seen an exponential rise of the younger people joining Gold Republic.
Especially taking into account that we don't have a real gold culture in the Netherlands. And yet you sometimes suddenly see a mind switch. So yeah, that was interesting. But also what's interesting is that the increase from the gold that is stored in the Dutch vault, because we have 3 vault locations, one in Frankfurt, one in Zurich, and one in Amsterdam. And Zurich always was by far our biggest vault. That the Dutch vault location got a lot more interest.
Yes.
Why do you think is that the case?
Well, I think that is because internationally, because we've also seen a sharp rise of, for example, customers that aren't Dutch.
That's true.
And
they pick the Netherlands as a sort of stable.
We are, of course, a very stable country. And for a lot of people of some of our international customers, they feel that having their gold stored in Amsterdam is a very good option for them. We see that a lot of our Dutch customers, they prefer Zurich.
Yes.
But a lot of our, for example, Belgium, German customers, they prefer storing their precious metals in Amsterdam. And seeing that we have a lot more customers from other countries right now, you see an increase in interest in storing bullion in Amsterdam.
Hey, and Bart, and the third event?
Well, I was kind of alluding to it, but I know because that is one thing that I think we agree on is the explosive growth of our reach on social networks like YouTube. And I wanted to ask you, because I now have, I think, called the 3 things, and I want to ask you the same question.
That is like, we always organize a lot of events for our customers, but that always, like the maximum people you could address was like 80 people, I think, in the room, and that suddenly wasn't possible anymore. And there where you say you have to experience, you have to proceed, and you have to. I always like the fact that we, because that we gave a more rounded information towards the customer. So not only about things that go wrong, but also about generic macroeconomic topics, etc. Because I think there's a case for gold. There always is a case for gold. Also when maybe the demand isn't as big as it is right now.
Our markets are doing amazing.
Yeah. So, but we started, I challenged you actually. I said, just Bart, I don't have the guts to do that, to be honest. Like you do it. And I said, just, you need to get out there. You need to get connected with your target group. And you did. And in the beginning I thought, oh, where is this going? And I saw the many, 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 many reactions that you've got. And some were pretty harsh, but also some were so many positive reactions. And I think they just like it. So yeah, I think that was my highlight was, and I remember when we sat down, and it probably must have been in February or March. I said, okay, Bart, come on, it's time. You start your YouTube channel. And we said, okay, let's pick a number and see how many subscribers you can get. And you said, I don't know, 1,000. I thought wow, 1,000. And you reached it 3 days ago.
Yeah, that was actually on Christmas Day.
Yes.
So that was a great Christmas present.
Yeah, so that was definitely one of my highlights. My second moment of truth was probably the moment when we had enormous amounts of bullion in hedged positions, but they were not in the vault. And that was a challenging situation on getting it there, especially with the customs not being open.
Closed borders.
Borders. Vault, people in the vault that were just not working, not being able to receive the bullion and take it in and register it, etc. That was a moment where we really had to collaborate with our insurance players, or with the refiners again, and making sure that everything was still in the correct places. So that was a challenging moment. A very good moment, I think, was. We went in lockdown earlier than the official lockdown was going. And I so remember, because we are, I think half of our team is IT. And I was already used by working on a distance with your team. But I never thought that we were able to pull this off like this. So I remember that night when I thought, okay, this is going to happen. And we better do it earlier than later. So we, from one day to the other, said, okay, tomorrow we're not going to operate from the office anymore. We're going to operate from home. And these are our ways on how we are going to communicate. This is when we have touch bases, etc. And it went so well. And the whole atmosphere and the dynamics in our office completely changed. We're now, I think, more efficient. We have better communication than ever. And that was a moment where I thought okay, what is this going to do to my company? And I for many weeks, because I had to go in quarantine, because when the actual lockdown happened, I was in Dubai. And when I came back, I had to go in quarantine for 2 weeks, but there was nobody here. So I sat in the office and I was sitting here by myself. And I was like, wow, how is this going to change? And it changed for the better. So I'm actually really happy. I'm very happy obviously with a good year. That's always nice. But I think the fact that we maintain to be able to give our customers the level of service that we always wanted to give, that's my huge plus. I'm still a positive person. I just hope that we are able to recover. I'm not worried of having less revenue or turnover or whatsoever, because we have a very small and agile team, and we have enough bullion under management to be able to operate. But I'm very proud of the level of service that you guys were able to give to all the customers on a continuously basis. And I think we always being reachable, always being able to pick up that phone and help and support them. So 2021, I should say.
Yep.
2 days from now.
Yeah.
I think we never imagined that we would only have 2 guests welcoming in our households that night. Serious lockdown. What can we expect for 2021? How do you look at this?
Well, of course, expectation or hope. I hope things will return to normal as fast as possible. But going from the 31st to the 1st of January is just that. It is one day turning into another day. And policies don't change as fast as days do. So no. I think what I think is going to happen, I think that the real price of the lockdown still has to be paid. But I'm an optimistic person. So I want to hope that everything returns to normal as fast as possible. I want to hope that everybody stays healthy and has a great 2021. And I think that regardless of what is the actual turnout, I think that 2020 has learned a lot of people to be grateful for what they have, and also has learned a lot of people that if you want to own, for example, your financial independence, and I don't mean that by saying if you want to be rich, but I want to say if you want to own your financial independence, you have to take precautions. And I think that is ingrained into the collective psyche of not only this country, but the world. So I think it's going to be a really interesting couple of years where, of course, I say I hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. But I think it's going to be really interesting. How about you?
Yeah, for me, I think like from the point of view of an entrepreneur, GoldRepublic went well, but Alexej also did really well in 2020 because that's the other side of our business. It's the sister company of GoldRepublic, where I just love to see that we can add value and that we can create products that were unavailable to invest in the past. Areas in sustainability, areas in new technology, new ventures, and that Alexej can be the possible platform to build that on. But if I look at the bullion market, at the gold market, I want to do something with this enormous inflow of young people. I want to do something with that. And I hope that we can inspire them to not only be allocated in gold. Sounds weird. Because what we see is that these groups have large positions in cryptos, large positions in gold, but that's about it. So I hope that we can inspire them to have a more spread investment portfolio. We're busy developing a new product right now. That's more buy and hold, where people, probably the younger generation, is capable of invest in hard assets.
And holding those assets.
And just only allocating a small part of their savings or investment money in those assets, but keep it for a rainy day. Just put it aside. Don't look at it. And I'm very, very, very excited to release that. And that new product that makes use of both GoldRepublic, which is a platform that can provide physical ownership in real assets, but also an exchange where we can use securities to securitize certain assets. So I'm excited for that. I cannot wait to introduce that.
And we will inform the listeners and the viewers about that as soon as we can. Well, I think it's we're going to wrap this podcast up. Marleen, I want to thank you for joining me.
I want to thank you as well.
You're welcome, of course.
You had an amazing year. Thank you for
We've all had an amazing year. I always say it's a team effort, so I want to thank everybody at GoldRepublic and Alexej. And let's see each other in another podcast.
I would say let's open that bottle of champagne.
Oh yeah, we're going to open
have a healthy year, please.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for listening. If you like this podcast, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to join the YouTube channel or every other platform that you can listen to this podcast, please do so. And we'll see each other in another Gold Republic podcast.